The city of Adelaide hosts the start of the 13th Santos Tour Down Under with the opening stage, the first day starting just north of the city at Mawson Lakes, 138 kilometres the opening stage to Angaston in the Barossa Valley. On the line, 133 of the world's top racing cyclists, and ahead, not far up the road, the first climb of the day. The field rolling away in neutralised formation in front of a large crowd and on a very warm summer's day in South Australia. Out onto the open highway, they were now heading towards Blacktop Road after 11 kilometres. That would be the first challenge of the King of the Mountains, and they were in no hurry to open up a race which would last now for the next 6 days. There was no sign of an attack in the opening 10 kilometres, but once they started the climb of the Skoda Blacktop Road King of the Mountains competition, then the riders would begin to stretch their legs. The first attack of the day was coming from Gorka Izaguirre, the Basque rider on the Spanish Euskaltel Euskadi team. Then that started a reaction from the field as they chased the one and only mountaintop finish on this flattish stage down into the Barossa Valley. Very quickly, Gorka was joined by Australia's Luke Roberts, a rider who thought he had a professional team this year till it collapsed, and now he's looking for a sponsor. And also joining him on the attack too were other riders to make a small group fighting out the finish. Julien Lubert of France was the man that led towards the summit of the climb, but he was hotly chased by Luke Roberts, and Roberts got the better of them both as he held his effort right up towards the finish to become the first leader in the Skoda King of the Mountains competition. So with the high point of the day behind them, the riders were anxious not to push on under the hot weather. And with 12 kilometres under the wheels of 138, they decided to stop and wait. And then the move started, because 13 kilometres in, 5 riders did get clear for much of the day. Here they're approaching Sandy Creek in the first Jayco sprint of the day at 45.6 kilometres. And it was another Australian from the Uni SA squad who got the better of them all. Mitchell Docker, a 24-year-old, taking out the sprint ahead of Miguel Minguez of Spain and Simon Clark, an Australian on the Kazakh Astana team. The riders at this point had built a lead of over 4 minutes, which has now been reduced by the chase to 2.5 as they approach their second Jayco sprint at 52.2 kilometres into the day. Michael Rogers from Canberra, but riding on the British Team Sky, was chatting here with the other big strong contenders who had sprinters on their team. They were deciding now what tactics to employ to bring back the leaders before the finish in Angaston. Meanwhile, the 4 or 5 front runners with a lead of 2.5 minutes were anxious to get on with the sprint points and the small time bonuses available out on course that could reward them with an early lead in this event. This one taken out by the Frenchman Mathieu Pergier ahead of Simon Clark and Miguel Minguez. Pergier was pretty pleased with this. But the gap was closing down. The main peloton felt now that they had control of those 5 leaders who at one stage had led by 4 minutes. But now they were going a-hunting to bring them all back into the fold. When it came down to the desperate finish for the line, the sprinters now all together were looking to search out which one they could lead to the line with great success, because it's a tricky finish in Angaston and the riders are going round 2 sharp left-hand bends before the finish. Those that weren't at the front when the sprint started couldn't get up there because of the high speed. It was the team from America, HTC High Road, who were doing a lot of the work with a little help from other teams. They tried to work out the positions for their team leaders. But it was, as always, a real battle for the line. Robin McEwen in the red jersey was also not far away, riding his 16th season as a professional, as everybody tried to get in on the act as they approached the line in front of an enormous crowd who had seen them pass through the town twice already, but this finish was for real. As Viviani in the Liquigas green and white colours tried to take out the stage, it was a sudden rush down the centre by Matthew Goss, the Tasmanian on HTC High Road, who produced a finish that last year's stage winner here, Andre Greipel, who also won this race, could not match. So it was a win for Goss over Greipel on the line.
Yeah, it's great. It's it's one thing to win, but when you're expected to win, it's a lot more pressure on yourself. And I'm really happy to get the win today for me and for the team. They rode all day, so that's for them, guys.
It'd have been a good day out for Matthew Goss, the Tasmanian, who pulls on the ochre jersey as the first leader of the Santos Tour Down Under for tomorrow's stage, and defends just a small lead overall of 4 seconds. He's also the leader in the majority of the other competitions.